Kawada Sensei, the creator of Hinomaru Sumo, returns to Shonen Jump. Nito is living a quiet high school life while taking care of his disabled grandpa, but thanks to an encounter with a schoolmate striving to be a pro-female MMA fighter, his life is about to flip. Sometimes you just have to fight. This serious MMA story is an all-out battle. And with that, welcome to another first impression. Today we are going to investigate a new Shonen Jump manga called Martial Master Asumi. I have decided to make this type of videos once a series has 6 chapters, as that pretty much is the amount of content a first volume has. But let's get into the manga talk. Kawada Sensei is a promising name. Hinomaru Sumo, which is the picture you can see right now, was very enjoyable, which already tells us that this mangaka can draw martial arts scenes and choreographies. Another positive factor is that at least in Hinomaru, there wasn't any fan service. At least none that I can remember. Well, unless you call sumo outfits fan service, but I guess this is just factually wrong. So let's go to the actual manga of today. This is Martial Master Asumi. Expectations are already high, as I love a good martial arts story. The summary seems to imply that we have a duo of main characters, a female fighter striving to go pro, and just some guy. I'm really interested in the character dynamics of this story. My best guess would be that Nito, our boy, or the main character in the picture, is going to learn from the female lead. Asumi could be her name, I guess, unless the title is about a third character teaching both of them, but I deem that to be unlikely. As this is set in a realistic, real world, I can once again hope for a slow growth series, please? Will Nito be talented, or will it be all about hard work? Let's see if he will become the next Kenichi from History's Strongest Disciple. Like always, I put the link to the series in the description if you want to check it out yourself first, because from here on out there is a slight spoiler warning. So get ready for a first impression of the first 6 chapters of Martial Master Asumi. First of all, I have to say this. Give this story a chance. In only 6 chapters, it has built up long-term goals for the 3 main characters. Yes, it's 3, not 2. I learned that during the read-through. And it also already set up an antagonist that is going to be part of the story for a long time, presumably. Let me tell you about our main 3 and then the antagonist. Nito Asumi is the main focus. That is the boy with the orange-brownish hair in the cover of this manga. After learning his full name, we now also know that the title is not speaking about the female lead, but about his senile grandfather, so I was wrong about that. More about this guy later, however. Nito has been trained by his grandfather for a long time, but at the moment he doesn't really like to fight unless completely necessary. Well, there went my slow growth dream for him, but more about that later as well. That aside, he can still grow a lot as a character. Unsure about his future, he thinks he wants to become a caretaker, because that is all he has been doing after school, taking care of his grandfather, which in itself is quite sweet, but also kind of tragic that he can't live his life like a normal teenager would normally do. However, it is very clear that during his school time, he is just a normal high school boy, especially when he is together with his best friend Yuya, potentially my favorite character. His type are down-to-earth girls with glasses, truly a man of culture. And this is also one of his motivations to get into MMA, because if you look at the cover, you can already see his type in a one-to-one description. Now Okiba, the female lead of the story, is 1 year older than Yuya and Nito, but she is exactly his type. Well, besides her weird tendencies of being an MMA maniac and aspiring pro. But I think they can work that out because our main character Nito is also going to develop some sort of love for MMA over the course of this story. Now really is a cutie who stands up for other people. Even though she is not using her charm actively to recruit Nito, he still immediately is interested in her. And that was the main reason why he joined her fighting thing for now. The story already set up some sort of past for her, or tragic past if we have to call it that, which just gets more interesting with her overprotective father. Even though these kind of parents can be annoying, I can totally understand why this father is acting like he is. I can imagine that their dynamic is going to be a lot of fun, and her dad will take up a good role as a mentor figure for Nito as well. My biggest fear, however, is that she turns into some kind of coach or manager during the story. Seeing her fight for herself would be a lot more compelling, and would also help differentiate her and the entire manga from other martial arts stories. And now to my last hope, Yuya Fuchida, the best friend of our main character and probably the most noob fighter out of our center 3. He actually is a beginner at fighting, so if things develop correctly, as I said previously, he could become my favorite character. Seeing him slowly catch up to Nito would be incredibly satisfying. His personality is also high quality. He knows that he is weak, but he would still stand up for his friends and protect him from bullies. He is a true buddy. That trait also gives me expectations for his future, but also some bad ones. Hopefully he doesn't step over to the dark side to grow stronger. Boris aside, he is filled with a lot of ambition and passion. If he doesn't lose that flame and continues to work hard, he might actually become the underdog of this story, and we all love a good underdog story, right? I'm no expert when it comes to MMA, but it would also be cool to see Nito and Yuya fight together in a 2 vs 2. I mean, it's a manga, it doesn't have to be all realistic. So 2v2, even if that's not something we normally see in MMA, I think in a manga it could work. The last character I want to talk about is the potential big antagonist. I'm not going to reveal his name, however. While his goal of wanting to become the strongest is very cliche, it makes a lot of sense for him as a character. I would even go so far as to call him and our protagonist Nito two sides of the same coin. Different paths, but similar goals. Our antagonist left his home to become stronger, thinking his family would just hold him back. And he feels confirmation as he achieved a lot in just a few years, becoming a pro fighter and all of that. While in his own words, his family is just wasting away. Don't get me wrong, I am not on his side. He is a complete asshole, but I can actually see where he is coming from. And he isn't just some one-layered boring villain either. It seems like in his own twisted ways, he still thinks about his family and wants to help other people grow stronger as well, because strength is everything in his head. Instead of calmly growing, this character already tried to make our protagonist accept anger as a fuel for power. And we all know where anger as a fuel would lead somebody sooner or later. As mentioned earlier, Nito's grandfather is probably the namesake for the title of this manga. Seeing senile characters always hits me hard. It is just way too relatable. Learning that Gramps only really has a clear mind while performing martial arts was also pretty sweet and makes me think that he might become a teacher not only for Nito but also for Yuya and Nao. I also think we will continue to learn more and more about the old man and potentially his past as well, as some key parts of the story all lead back to him. In my opinion, the fighting choreography is top notch, but you better make your own picture about that, as I am no expert when it comes to battles. It could be all complete bullshit, but at least to me it feels realistic enough that it could really happen in an MMA fight. Probably my biggest issue with the story is that the main characters are in high school. It would work just as well if they were in college or working and just want to start MMA back then. But I guess that's what you get when reading shonen stories. They are, after all, aimed at teenage boys. We will have to wait and see if this manga can establish itself, like its predecessor, or if it will fall due to the competitiveness of the market. The story really has a lot of potential. With the trio of Yuya, Nito and Nao, we can see so many different sides and aspects of the MMA journey. Nito blasting through the amateur ranks because of all the training he did with his grandfather, but struggling with family issues and personal trauma. Yuya actually just starting out and pretty much showing the path most of us readers would have to take as well if we want to get into MMA, all while also maybe developing some sort of inferiority complex towards Nito because he can't keep up with him, or just struggling to grow stronger in general because maybe he's just not talented that much. And finally now revealing the difficulties a female fighter might face in the MMA scene. I can only repeat again, I barely know anything about MMA. So everything I read here, that might as well be the Bible of fighting for me. Tackling realistic issues would be something I personally would love, but I don't know if Shonen Jump has the right demographic for that. One thing is for sure, This first impression was a great one. If you like martial arts stories or plots connected to family, you really should give this one a try. At the moment of this upload, there are still all 6 chapters freely available on the Manga Plus website, so don't miss out on that chance. I know I said it multiple times already, but I will keep you updated on this story. Maybe every 10 chapters I can talk about current developments. Chapter reviews are fine and all, but just looking at a singular chapter, at least when a story is new, it won't offer us that much. Hopefully I could introduce you to a manga that can entertain you for a long time. It has passionate fights, great drama, and an incredible journey. But that's all from me for today. All that is left to be said is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro, out. Bye!